Well, everyone, the time has finally arrived. The beginning of the end of Season X6X of Deathmatch Island. This season's newcomers, the Plums, have managed to prove their wit and resourcefulness, trust in each other's skills, and stick with it through bullets and bruised egos, carrying each other all the way to the end. From forming alliances with Quincy Still Here May and Riley No Lies Beckett, surviving the onslaught of the vast alliance and thoroughly trouncing the officers Abthorpe Lawman Jacobson and Thomas Collins, to deceiving and eliminating the Ascendant Alliance and overcoming the unstoppable force of production favorite Alexa Ascendant Khan and her right-hand mercenary, Delilah Silver Bullet Hawkins. So far, nothing, not overwhelming numbers or crazed cultists, not nuclear meltdowns or even production tricks, have been able to stop or even slow the Plums, the entirety of their group and loyalties remaining intact from the moment they landed in the fishing village to the second they departed Island 2. And now, it's time to crown a winner. Who will it be? Number 27, the creative and optimistic multimedia artist Easton NFT Green. Number 37, the social and empathetic youth counselor Ryder the Pacifier Xantodakis.
Number 44, the enigmatic and mysterious gym teacher Aspen Discount Study Figure.
Number 47, the competent and resourceful poker player Fox Baconator Parada. Number 53, the headstrong and endearing Coast Guardsman Bobby Slug Mode Usoro. Number 61, the well-connected and team-oriented creative director Banyu DEI Ortiz. Or number 79, the shrewd and rational nuclear engineer Suzanne Crazy Taxi Leon. One of these impressive Plums might just walk away with the crown. But before we find out which, it's time for the Redacted Roundup. That's right, a penultimate recap episode just isn't a penultimate recap episode without going over all the redacted information that we came across this season. In the compound on Island 1, the Plums came across a briefcase with millions in various currencies, files on high-profile international politicians, a staged political press room set, complete with unfamiliar national flags, a corpse with an eerie resemblance to Bobby, whom Bobby insists is his brother, Robbie, a large tube containing the fetus-like creature named Robbie Jr. by Bobby, competitor Aspen Kruger, wearing a jumpsuit labeled Deathmatch Institute. In the reactor facility on Island 2, Suzanne found a report on a fatally mismanaged energy project that was vaguely familiar to her. Easton received a phone call from a loved one who seemed under the impression they'd seen him within the last 24 hours. Bobby found a room full of orange slugs and a broken test tube with a portion of his name on it. In the emergency cash bunker on Island 2, they found hundreds of boxes of passports, each box filled with passports belonging to a single individual, but in dozens of different nationalities. One such box containing dozens of passports belonging to Suzanne Leong. A tape recorder with ideas for insane reality shows. A black and white portrait of a former DMI competitor, Lonnie Usoro, the spitting image of Bobby, but gruffer looking, season number 172. A credits list for this season of Deathmatch Island, including Banyu Ortiz and Eastern Green under Doodads Inc., a proud partner of Deathmatch Island. Out in the wilds of Island 2, Fox found a script for this season of Deathmatch Island containing conversations previously unheard. Aspen found a radio left behind from a former Deathmatch Institute contestant. A voice on the other side informed her that the game was actively being rigged by production, in cult leader Alexa Khan's favor. Robbie Jr. awoke, revealing itself as possessing intelligence, communicating with Bobby telepathically, and bestowing him with the supernatural ability of multiplicity. So much strangeness. What could it all possibly mean? And with that, let's get into the recap for Episode 5. when we last left the Plums, they had just boarded the boat, on their way to Island 3. After several days' journey on harrowing waters, their luxuries consumed, and their final sea journey at an end, the Plums finally come upon Island 3, its majesty clear against the backdrop of a setting sun. The Crown, a polar island with anomalous climate. Temperatures and humidity are at tropical levels. Wandering peacocks, picturesque foliage, and marble statues of past competitors dot the island. The Plums bid their final farewells before landing at their separate nodes. Fox is the first to disembark, landing at the conservatory. She wanders the lush tropical greenery of the glass and white steel house, taking in the scents and sights of immaculate floral delights, scoring herself a bit of rest and relaxation before the endgame. Second to depart is Easton. He chooses to land at the discotheque, a sleek cube of glass and steel with an illuminated dance floor made up of glass panels, pounding music emanating from unseen speakers.
Let's DDR!
Easton begins the challenge node, successfully dancing from panel to panel as they light up in time with the ever-increasing tempo of the music. He takes the challenge handily, entirely avoiding any mistakes that would result in a very nasty electric shock. Bobby Usoro lands at the big wheel, a massive orange Ferris wheel towering over the skyline of the Crown. There, waiting for him, the slug-powered deathmatch savant finds a familiar, though not so familiar face. A woman covered in burns, eyes fiery like the blaze she must have been caught in. The burned woman becomes incensed, alight with rage at the sight of the Coast Guardsman. This rage only rises as Bobby insists that he has no idea who she is. Rough. Turns out that Delilah Silver Bullet Hawkins survived the emergency congregation facility explosion that brought Island 2 to a fiery conclusion. Unfortunately for her, Bobby still supposedly has no idea what she's talking about. Exasperated and done talking, Delilah begins the node's challenge, determined to crush him. The contestants climb into separate Ferris wheel carriages, and the wheel turns to bring them up to the top. The contest is simple. First contestant to climb to the bottom and reach the podium alive wins. They ready themselves for their respective descents, and the challenge begins. But in an unexpected turn of events, instead of Bobby throwing himself headfirst into the challenge as usual, he draws a gun and fires, sending a round through Delilah's gray matter, causing the body of the former cultist to plummet from her carriage, landing with an unceremonious splat. Slugbird then proceeds to take his time, completing the challenge at his own pace. Fourth up is Banyu. The creative director of Doodads Inc. finds himself at the entrance of a maze of towering hedgerows, alongside a heavily wounded Quincy Still Here May. They share a few words before beginning their contest, Quincy assuring Banyu that she cannot lose, as she's fighting to return to her family, insisting to Banyu that he should quit after he claims that he has no such motivation. Of course he refuses, not willing to go soft into that good night and let Island 3 become his grave. The two stand at adjacent entrances, and as the challenge begins, they tear off into the maze, limestone chips crunching underfoot. Sun beating down on him, Banyu does well to navigate the maze, making it to the reward at the center with minimal confusion. However, Quincy seems to do nearly as well, coming around a corner and opening fire on him before he can actually complete the contest. Caught off guard at the fact that the badly wounded Quincy was able to keep up with them, he struck him the shoulder as he takes a strategic retreat, allowing his adversary to complete the challenge. Fifth to make landfall is Ryder. The youth counselor finds himself at a feast. On a white sand beach, a long dining table draped in orange tablecloth and covered in food, drink, and a single shotgun. He uses his time alone to fuel up before the endgame, indulging in the feast before him, leaving him satisfied. And finally, Suzanne, the last Plum to land. The nuclear engineer finds herself at the entrance of a massive sphere made of white polymer fabric, a clear plastic tunnel leading to an entry. Suzanne enters the sphere. Inside, she finds a white, seemingly infinite space. There, in that nothingness, that quiet, she unlocks a crucial memory. Nuclear engineer Suzanne Crazy Taxi Leung previously worked for Deathmatch Island. One more puzzle piece falls into place. And with that, the klaxon sounds. The remaining competitors take their final moments on the idyllic
Island 3, rounding off their rest